Meet James, an incoming university student who cares about an easy-to-use interface, literacy knowledge gaps being fulfilled, as well as a visible environmental impact in his banking systems, as well as hitting all of his personal financial goals. My name is Amara, and I'm joined today by Javaria, Zawad, and Terry, and we are here to take two techs forward for Gen Z. Looking at our executive summary, we can understand that the acquisition and retention of Gen Z clientele to drive profit and benefit brand image is important, and to be solutioned by our two tech strategy, tech one being My Globe and tech two being My Education, to bridge the CSR and ESG initiatives as well as financial literacy.
Thank you, Amara. If you look at the analysis for the banking industry in Canada, just last year, all banks combined made a total revenue of more than $200 billion with an estimated annual growth of 1.6% with a higher profit margin. The market is dominated by the big six major firms in the industry consisting of RBC, TD, CIBC, Scotiabank, National Bank, and BMO. These banks account for an estimate of 94.4% of the industry. Some key highlights in the industry are that technological innovation is likely to continue and banks will come up with more advanced products. Major operators have cut costs by reducing the number of branches, moving towards online banking. Overall, banking activities has increased amongst the larger six banks. Looking at the competitive landscape, we can break it down into internal competition, where the industry is highly concentrated with more than 80 businesses. And despite the dominance from the big six, the market is still highly competitive. And the competition is based upon range of products and services they offer. The bank providers are highly dependent on the price differentiation to gain market shares. The reputations of the bank also play a key role to stay ahead of competition and external competitions, which includes other financial institutions. Mobile banking has also allowed international banks to enter the market. Looking at the banking trends, user-friendly applications are definitely becoming bigger as banks need to retain their customers. With the use of apps, privacy and security is becoming a bigger concern. Integration with AI and machine learning is becoming large among the banks and have allowed banks to improve customer service and have personalized interactive solutions. However, customers still need the human connection. Gen Z is anyone born between 1996 and 2010. This generation is most technologically comfortable generation with the most tech-savvy people where they like to try new technology. They're more demanding. They're always under the influence of social media personals. They are communaholic, meaning that they care about the community, inclusion, diversity, and ESG factors while making a decision. They're also concerned with their finances. 37% of Gen Zs agreed that financial advice would be beneficial to them. If you look at banking and Gen Z, there's an increased number of transactions with Interact debit users at grocery stores. 30% of Gen Z say that they have open bank account influenced by their parents. More than half of Gen Zs believe that mobile banking is a top consideration before choosing the bank. They also happen to be the least loyal generation.
Okay, looking at technologies such as My Globe, we are able to insert an ESR and CSR personal and general tracking interface. So if we look on the left, that is the general banking tracker. This would be a breakdown of all the existing banks initiatives, including philanthropic, net zero, and responsible investing. And then on the right, this is the more personalized aspect, which includes your own charity donations, your own ESG compliant purchases, and your own online banking impacts that are all gamified in a sort of status bar, which allows you to earn globes toward point systems. So take an example of a CSR report. The TD Green Space grants have a overarching impact that will be seen through the CSR report, as well as on the app through their net zero work, which offers a comprehensive visualization of the impacts of that initiative. If we look at the personalized tracking, we've got the 3 globes, and these 3 globes translate into 1 globe equaling 1,000 points, which can be accounted for by the charity impacts, ESG impacts, and banking impacts of the individual that they have done over the course of that month. Globes represent a significant degree of change and are able to be collected as you earn through green spending and can be redeemed for discounts with partner companies. So looking at partner companies, to identify a charity, we can use their business indexing number that has already been regulated and established by the Government of Canada, who allows for tax credit claims as well. This would be through an autonomous or manual process, including such as the automatic process where an indexing software will recognize the name, cross-reference it with that charity list, such as Earth Save Canada, and be able to send out a kind of point system for that. If this does not work, a manual system can also be made where they input manually that number, and that number is then recognized. This can happen in the instance that a company or a charity is new. A partnership can also be pursued with a charity such as Salvation Army, where they will be recognized for the points and any donations that go toward them. This partnership could also be used toward environmentally friendly purchases, as every globe could equal like a 10% um, kind of off at their stores, and that will contribute to this further impact. ESG leaders and B Corps can also be seen as partners, as these would track similar companies that offer that ESG approach. MSCI um, and GRI standards can also establish an ESG scoring system, and all of these companies could be potential partners because of that. Overall interface overview, we can understand that all of these initiatives and partnerships can then be tracked in the overarching system, and points can be rewarded for the said globes. If we look back at James again, we can understand that him and this easy to use interface get along, as he can understand what the visible environmental impact of both himself and his bank is.
Going over our second technology, My Education. This would be a centralized program to help teach students or Gen Zs about financial literacy through their own banking apps. So how this will show it, it would be its own separate program listing all the different types of topics that could Gen Zs or like users can might want to go over. So in James's case, he is a university student looking to save and make money towards university. So his top two topics are saving accounts and investment. So we were to go into the first one, saving accounts, what would appear would be a list of lessons, each with videos created by professional industry professionals to teach students like James about these topics. And after they watch the videos, there's extra activities and resources that they can click into in order to learn more. In this case, an example of technology would be a quiz with true or false questions for James to practice his learning. All of these separate lessons and learnings will be integrated into the actual TD app, where these lessons could potentially apply. For example, with the saving account, the lessons will be integrated with the saving account number. So that way, if they are looking for ways to save more, it'll be right there for them to click on and learn more. Another example would be with credit limit increase. If James was looking to increase his credit limit and he's looking through the TD app for that, there will be a little red icon in order for him to learn more about this topic as well. So going over James's need, what does this satisfy? First, this will satisfy his knowledge gap, as areas where he's looking on his TD app, he'll find areas where flaws in his knowledge and be able to quickly correct them. So this will also allow him to hit his personal finance goals quicker.
Now moving on to the implementation. First, we look at the timeline. Both the techs will need 6 months to initiate the project. During this time, TD would hire a project manager who would help define the scope and search for a team. Next, the teams would work on developing the technology. This would include research, design, beta testing, and deployment. During this time, the marketing strategy should also be finalized. Lastly, the tech should be monitored and maintained annually. Moving on to the financials. The globe will generate $94 million by the end of 2025. The cost to produce this tech will be $400,000 for the 2 years. My Education will cost slightly more because TD will be developing a whole new app and syncing it with its previous apps. So the cost will be around $445,000. One high impact risk we associated with this strategy is that TD might face cybersecurity breaches. In this case, to mitigate, TD should use multi-factor authentication. Make sure their protection software is up to date and running constantly while performing the new software changes, and have a first response team ready when working on the software.
Looking at James again, we can see that he has now received a easy-to-use interface, as well as the visible environmental impacts and the financial literacy that he required, hitting all of his personal and financial goals. In summary, our technology has created an impact on James, as well as increasing revenue by 94 million and increasing Gen Z financial literacy engagement. Thank you for listening, and we will now open the floor to any questions.